We are live.
Okay, so 'twas the night before Christmas, and all throughout Stuyvesant not a creature was stirring, because everyone was at home, including us. So good evening, everyone. This is a special holiday edition of your monthly live Q&A session. I am a very unfestive and wet-haired communications director, Michael Espinosa, here with your vice president, Tahseen Chowdhury. How are you doing tonight, Tahseen?
I'm doing great. Yeah, pretty good. Ready for Christmas?
Yes, Merry Christmas Eve to you too, even though you don't celebrate. Um, So let's get started with our first question, shall we?
Sure.
What does Tahseen do with all 3,400 STI students' emails and IDs?
Uh, what do I do with all 3,400 sci students' emails and IDs? Well, I don't have the OSIS numbers, but what I do with the names is currently we are working to create a mail merge system to write personalized emails for you. So you can get instead of a hey everyone, you get a hi your name, and the emails are just more personal and nicer. So that's what we're working on. It's not a high priority in the SU because we have other things that we want to work on. So if we do have the time, we'll do it. It's not super important. That's what we do with it. Otherwise, with all of the emails, I send all of the emails out to you, so you will know what's going on in the SU if there's anything important. For example, this live Q&A session was advertised through the email server that we built.
Okay, cool. Next question. What's the freshman caucus doing?
What is a freshman caucus doing? All right, that is a loaded question, but let's open up their Drive folder so I can figure out what they're doing. It's wonderful. We have a project administrator that keeps track of everything they're doing. But right off the bat, one of their highest priorities right now is the winter dance. It is a high priority in everyone's mind. I've told them to change all of their focuses and put all of their effort onto the live online Q&A session because not the live online Q&A session. This is the live online Q&A session. The winter dance, because a lot of money went into playing the dance. It's important that we come out positive at the end of the day, and we have money that we raise from the dance because we use that money to fund clubs and pubs next year and the current year. So we need to keep the clubs running every single year. We give tens of thousands of dollars to clubs, and this plays a role into the funding. It all goes into the general club pub fund. So that's their main focus right now. They are working on a couple of other projects, such as like improving the Wi-Fi, getting free hotspots under T-Mobile, under sponsorships. It's a lot of the goals are they are goals, so it's important to note that like a lot of these things might not happen, but they have pushed for a couple of policy proposals that have gone through. So, for example, they tried to get they're trying to do them and software cogs are trying to do the thing where you come in 10 minutes earlier before the end of the period during your lunch period. So that is actually already confirmed. We convinced everyone to do it. It's just a matter of implementing it, and it should be implemented right after break. We just have to get like the school safety agents to know that like you can come in 10 minutes before the end of the period. Same goes for Miss Stamsek and anyone else that's like at the front door and maintaining the door.
Okay. So sort of some pertaining to freshman caucus. Why did they get the winter dance? Because if I'm correct, that is normally a sophomore thing.
All right, so it was a sophomore thing last year, but the freshman caucus wanted to do a winter dance, and so did the sophomore caucus. So what we did was we asked them to both do cost per analysis to see what dance would make the most money and what dance would be the most financially viable for the SU, because it is really important to us that we fund clubs and pubs as well as possible. So we try to do as much as possible to ensure that like we're spending money in a place that is that will bring us the highest return. So we need to have the best return on investment. And we did the cost rate analysis and to see like the freshman caucus would at the end of the day have the lowest costs with the highest revenue. They also impressed us very much because they were able to get a sponsorship to cover a large portion of the costs. And we thought that was very impressive because, it was like getting a sponsorship right after you're elected, like within 3 weeks of starting to decide wanting to dance is pretty impressive. We thought that was just generally like something that was very impressive, which is why we decided to go with them for the dance. When it comes to the spring fling dance that we usually do, normally goes to freshmen. We're gonna consider opening it to sophomores instead of freshmen, although that will overall be based on the cost of analysis. It's sort of the SU is showing, and that the SU doesn't base things off seniority, and I think it's important to note. A lot of times people think that we in the student union just like we sort of value like the upperclassmen more than the underclassmen, and the underclassmen feel like they have less power or less say in student government. But in reality, we look at everyone equally. We could have easily said sophomore caucus should get it because they've done it before during this year, and sophomore caucus is older, so they should get it because they get seniority, and that's how it was run before. But it is based on like who can bring in the highest return on investment and who contributes to the school community more, and they seem to be contributing to the school community more, so we went with them.
Okay, sorry about that. Our next question is, when will sing coordinators be announced? What does the sing look like? What does the sing timeline look like from there? And where can I get the sing charter, if at all?
All right, so the sing coordinators were announced yesterday around 11 a.m. Well, the sophomore and junior sing coordinators were announced around 11 a.m. yesterday, and the senior sing coordinator was announced today around, can't remember if it was today. It was very recent, but I can tell you who the sing coordinators are. The sophomore sing coordinator is Ruby Gary. The junior coordinator is Ray Jones, and the senior coordinator is Winston Benderbush. So congratulations to all of them. In terms of the sing charter, I actually have it right here. I'm not sure where we can put it. It is a public document, so anyone should be able to see it whenever they want to. Let me see if I can. Is there a way, Michael, to post into like the comment section on YouTube? There should be, right?
Awesome. Okay.
Wait, Michael, I'm talking to you.
Oh fuck. Oh no, I said that live. Oh, my mic was on. Oops.
Very strange. Okay, let me see if I can get this to. All right. So if the person that asked was live and was watching it right now, I have it right here. I'm gonna comment it right there. That is the sing charter. So if you want to be able to see it, you can see it right here. I'm going to find a way to make sure that this goes public because it is a public document and it should be public. I'm not exactly sure where we put it though, but it's here. So that's that. Yep. Oh, in terms of timeline, Sing is going to be held on the first week of March. So I believe that is the week of so it's going to be held on March 1st, March 3rd, and Saturday, March 4th. The actual production of Sing will start around mid-January and go until late February. And let me say, we're gonna start pre-planning pretty soon, if not like this break. So we'll start planning around this break. That's
Okay. Next question is, would it be possible for athletes to get an additional school meal? Ooh, that's a good question. Because everyone knows athletes gotta eat.
an additional. Okay, I think we need like more information on that. school meal during practice, after practice, but right now, I would probably say that's not possible currently because, so if you don't know, our president, Matthew So, actually goes to PEP meetings, which are the Panel for Educational Policy meetings. This is the panel that actually decides everything that happens at the DOE. They're at the top level organization at the DOE. They make all the decisions, made up of appointees of the mayor and all of the borough presidents. He goes to these meetings and represents the students because because he is the PEP representative, so he actually represents every single student in the city. So right now I keep track of the meetings, of course, and I get briefings about the meetings from Matthew So. So currently they are trying to get universal free lunch in the DOE, so it would give free lunch to everyone. So the organization is pushing for universal free lunch says the cost of universal free lunch is $8 million more than the current cost, whereas the DOE says it's $32 million. Obviously, there's a clear discrepancy. That in itself is a major issue, and getting universal free lunch is complicated. So getting more meals for athletes would probably be even worse. Mainly because you have to find the initial fund. The kids, even if the athletes were to pay for lunch, it would be or the meal, it would be you would need initial funding in order to get the meal. You'd have to gauge who needed, where they would need it, what kind of students would need it, what schools would require it. Because there's some schools that don't have the type of teams or the amount of teams that we have. So there's a lot of complicated processes that go along with these, and I would expect at least a couple $1 million that would be required to go into funding for that. So we'd have to go into the DOE budget, and this is a good idea, then convince them that they have the money for it or find the money for it. I am currently backing universal school lunch, but we need to look at the numbers more closely because there's obviously a clear discrepancy. We have to figure out what's being counted for within the DOE budget that's not being counted for in the universal free lunch program budget, or see within that in order to push for that. And I think that should be our focus right now, instead of free lunch for people that are on PSAL teams. Yes, they do need to eat, but honestly, I don't think the money is there, and I don't think we have I don't think the DOE, to be honest, at the end of the day, is a very large bureaucratic organization that is hard to manage. Also, the people that work at the DOE aren't exactly wonderfully. They have a lot of work to do, so they're not able to focus a lot of their time on gathering data like this. So they might not be able to do it. Mentioned to my bursary advisory council, faculty advisors who work for the Field Support Center at Manhattan, and hopefully they'll give me some more insight into whether or not this is possible. But I would tell you right now that it is probably a long fight upwards, but it doesn't mean we won't try. Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing to bring up, but it's definitely not something the school can fight for, so we definitely cannot blame the administration. If anything, it's something that de Blasio or Chancellor Farina should bring up. De Blasio is actually, he's already starting his campaign for 4 years, so if you think he's going to win, then you might as well, you should start lobbying for that. That would be fun, if you want to get that done.
Okay. I feel like this has been asked before. So I guess I'll ask about the current status of PSAL students getting freeze. How are we going on that?
Yeah, so currently we can't throw all of the proposals at the school all at once because, we do have a large skill agenda. We have a lot of things the students want, and, we want to get it done just as much as you do. And sometimes some students value some proposals more than others. But, we have to look at how important it is on a time schedule to look at, currently what I've been pushing for for the past few weeks was coming in 10 minutes before the end of the period. The reason I was doing that was because we only have a couple more months in winter, and if we can set this up now, we can get it running now. PSL freeze, that's a logistical issue, and an issue about whether or not it's good for the community, right? Because like STI values sports and physical education, and certainly values physical education, right? If the community values physical education so much so that they believe that even someone that's in a sport should go to phys ed, then we should let them. We shouldn't do a freeze, right? But if the community doesn't believe in it, then we probably should do the freeze. So we should fight that battle, but it's also a time issue. There's no way that we would present it now and get it done for second term. It would have to start next year, even if we were to convince them to do it. So it is something that's we finished the proposal. We got some suggested edits from the principal, so we're going to be editing those edits. We're refining the proposal, and then we're going to bring it up to Mr. Moran and Mr. what they think about it. Once we get their input, do further revisions, then we'll go back to SLT. They will present the proposal and figure out whether or not we want to move forward with the proposal. So that's what we want. That's the timeline. That's the next few steps. It is see right now if it's possible, because it's STI's phys ed program is so complicated. Like at Bronx Science, you have it for the entire semester, in the entire term, and they only have one term. Also, the sports don't have as many sports as we do, so it's less complicated. So they have less coaches to keep track of and less coaches and teacher communication needed. They also have so it's like they also have like a couple of things that makes it easier for them to do it than for us, because we have 2 terms. We have actually multiple different types of physical education classes, and we have a lot of coaches from a lot of different backgrounds. So it's a complicated issue. Implementing it at STI is much harder than implementing it at Broad Science. So the next few goals are making sure the community is on board, so that it actually makes sense and can be implemented at STI. And those are the 2 biggest obstacles, the hardest things, but we are jumping over it. We're trying our hardest to make sure that our proposals are in line with the current status of the administration and will work once implemented. But it definitely won't happen for second term. Our goal is for next year, first term, but we're not even sure about that.
Okay. Next question. What are your thoughts on the Spectator? Are they reliable? And before you say that, I just want to say, as a writer for a Spectator, I am totally unbiased, and I can say that they are a very trustworthy organization. That's obviously
the Spectator reports news that happens at STI, and I think they have a very balanced journal. They have very balanced journalism. They have they conduct their interviews very well. I've never had an issue with Spec, and I don't think anyone really does. I recently read their charter, and their charter seems very fair. I think the Spectator is a wonderful organization. They do great work. They do some of the best journalism work that you'll find. Way past high school, they do great work.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything specific they want me to say about that?
No.
Okay, wonderful.
I agree, and you should totally read my article in the latest issue on page 23. Moving on. Let's see. What do you do over the break?
What do I do over the break?
Yeah, because I just read college essays. Triggered.
Well, SAT study work is always something that I want to do when I really have time to do. I do stuff for SU, like a lot of proposal writing. Sing is coming up, so doing pre-planning for Sing, thinking about stuff. Working. I have a couple of jobs, and I run two businesses. So I'm sort of packed. We do stuff all the time. Breaks are nice because when you don't have school, you can do more work and more and one in like a day, and that just feels better because you're getting more stuff done, and that's fun. So I end up working most of my breaks. I prefer doing the work that I do during a break because I feel like it's more fulfilling and I actually get more out of it than schoolwork. Um, because like anyone that does homework will tell you that they don't really enjoy doing homework at the end of the day. But some of the work that I do for businesses, for marketing, is something that I'm very passionate about, and I enjoy doing it. And that's the same for SU. I'll be doing a lot of SU work. I'll probably be coming into Sty a couple of days to get some administrative tasks done. So yeah, that's what I do on break. I'm happy that you were interested about that.
Okay, so on the topic of going into Sty and doing administrative things, how often do you meet with the administration? When was the last time you met, and what was discussed?
All right, so I meet with Mr. Contreras on a daily basis. So every day after school, we get some SU meetings done. I take care of any issues that we have, and then based on the day, around like 4:35, maybe sometimes even 6 or 7, I'll go down to Contreras' office and we'll debrief about the day. We'll follow up on a couple proposals and a couple of issues that we've had, and we'll make sure that everything is going well. It's mostly what we do. Yeah, that's I mean, what can I say? I meet with the administration on a daily basis. I meet with, and I think it's a great thing because we didn't have that. It's not always common for the SU to be meeting with the administration every single day. But I think the administration and the SU have a very close and strong relationship right now. That's actually why we're getting a lot of things done. So we meet with the administration every single day. I try to meet with the alumni association a couple times a week. And the last meeting with Mr. Contreras, we discussed coming in 10 minutes before the end of the period. We discussed the issue with when the school doors open, whether or not it's 7:30 or 7:40, and we discussed for saying such generally what we do. Drop by and I'll talk to Ms. Stan in a sec, see what's up. Hedrick and Mr. Moran. With them a couple of times a week, but Mr. Contreras is a daily thing. And the alumni, keep in touch with them because they do support the school a lot.
All right, this isn't a question. This is just a straight statement, so you can feel the desperation. The response is, "Go outside during 2nd and 9th freeze, please."
Michael, quick question: so second period? I really don't think that's a viable option because a lot of people actually have first and second period free. You can't walk out second period if there's people coming inside. There'd just be too much traffic in and out. It wouldn't exactly be I understand that the school wants to have a choke point because choke points are always good for security measures to ensure that kids are safe, and opening up that choke point is a risk from a security perspective. I think we've been pushing Mr. Moran a lot, and we've had a lot of security changes done, and we will have a lot of physical education and security changes done in the future. But I don't think that this is something that's worth fighting for. Very few people have second period free and first period class when compared to the amount of students that have first and second period free. It would have to be a halfway point or something. It's not something that's worth that really makes sense to do at the end of the day for kids with first and second period free. It's not worth doing for the second period free. In terms of 9th free, when I was a freshman, there was no scanners in set up during ninth. Is that true? Are there scanners now during ninth?
I haven't heard of it because I have ninth, 10th class, and so any problems would have been resolved by the time I get out of 10th class.
All right, because I know, like when I was a freshman and I had nine and 10 free, I would just walk out during ninth period, and I would be able to come in any time. They don't have any like restriction on that,
Yeah, that
because
I know that's been a thing.
yeah, I think it's a pretty common thing. I think that still exists, but I will ask around and make sure that that's actually accurate, and I'll send someone to make sure that is accurate.
Okay. When can we use the benches during our freeze and lunch? So, for those of you who don't know, we've been in talks with sort of doing a silent study policy. And I think one of the trial areas was the sixth floor. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So, opening up the hallways and opening up the benches for student use is something that we've been working on. There are a variety of issues with it. Currently, we're trying to open up a room on the sixth floor, 615A, to the students, because we think we want to do it during the day so kids can use it for quiet study. If it goes well, then we'll open up to spaces in the hallways, around the benches. And we'll do a trial run there. If that goes well, we'll expand it to the entire building. But that is a long-term goal. But it's starting in that room. Of course, there's a couple of issues with that room. First of all, it's being used during the day, and that's a major issue. That's probably why it won't work. But that doesn't mean that we don't have other options. I will mention to Mr. Contreras when we get back from the break, or if I see him over the break. But that's something that fell off my radar because we were fighting for we were doing sing issues, and we were solving in 10 minutes, coming in 10 minutes before the end of the period issue. But when I say fall off the radar, it doesn't mean like it fell off like my list of things to do. It was still like there, but it had fallen down in priority based on like what else had to be done. But I will get to that eventually. If like probably right after break, if not during break.
Okay. Can you ask the deans to stop taking our phones when we're using them on the benches during our freeze lunch? Outside on the benches because the libraries are closed and the lunchroom is too loud. It's not like we're walking around with it. Well, to that I kind of have to say, I'll let you answer. You're the VP.
You're not allowed to use your phones on the benches, so we can't tell them not to do it because you're not allowed to do it. If I were
Yeah.
you, like,
Technically, you're not allowed to be on the benches.
yeah, you're not allowed to be on the
Yet.
benches either. It's like you're lucky that they're not kicking you off the benches too, or like taking your ID and reprimanding you for both having a phone and being on the bench. So that's one of the issues. The cafeteria is loud, but it doesn't necessarily mean you can't do work there. In fact, I actually carry earplugs around with me all the time. So when it gets too loud or stressful for me, I just put earplugs in. They're fairly cheap. You can just grab one from like a Walgreens or something, and they're actually very powerful with the cafeteria noise if I have to do work. And it is their job to take away the phones. You're not supposed to be using them. If the library is packed, and I don't think it's as packed anymore.
It's not. I've been, at least during some of the big periods. So first period and second period are pretty light, but I'm also in the library third and seventh. And before we've had to turn a lot of people away, but I've noticed in the past couple of days, not even the past couple of days, in the past couple of weeks, the volume is really turned down such that we're able to get everyone who wants to get into the library.
Yeah, head
So
into
that's
the library. I remember last time before, like right after second period, I would rush down to the library to try to get in third, and I would struggle to get in third, and that has been an issue for me. And that's the same goes for eighth. So library traffic has decreased, and I think that's partly because of the printing station, Google Cloud Print, and please use Google Cloud Print because it actually is it's a good thing. So Google Cloud Print and almost anything else that we've been pushing for, it works. We've been decreasing the traffic in the library, so you probably should be getting into the library. In Michael, I think you could. Do you think you could do the SEO solid and figure out like what periods are the heaviest for the library, so we can figure out whether or not how like we can decrease traffic into there?
Okay. I have some ideas. And I guess I can bring that up at our next meeting or after this is over. But
Okay.
ideas. Let's
Okay.
see what.
Wonderful.
What? On the topic of the cloud print station, I just want to let everyone who is watching know that you are allowed to use your phone near the print station to use the cloud print, so you don't have to have a laptop or a tablet. That's fine. Just keep
Yeah,
it in
don't
that
like
vicinity.
yeah, don't like if you're on your phone like making a phone call or texting,
Yeah,
don't try to take it
obviously.
away. Yes. But if you're printing, that should be fine. If someone tries to take it away from you, just walk into Miss Damasek's office, room 207, and just be like, Miss Damasek, this person is trying to take my phone away from me. Or if someone tries to take it away, just tell them that you're trying to print. But you are allowed to use your phone in that general vicinity.
Okay.
It's absolutely fine.
Um, let's see what's next. Give a shout out to Ryan. Things you want to get done before you leave Sty.
Things I want to get done before I leave stop.
Yes, very broad.
There's a lot of things I want to get done. The first thing I want to do is, well, when I first came to the SU, it was not as organized as it is now, and it wasn't as structured as it was now, and it wasn't as efficient as it is now. So I think one of the things that I'm very proud of is the current state of the SU. We've been doing a lot of work. We're communicating well with the students, and we've been getting things done. And uh, we don't hear all of the, like, I would be in the hallway, and if I ever said, like, oh, hey, I'm the software caucus president, and they ask what the SU does, it's like we get less of that. More students know what the SU does and know what the students are up to, and partly because we're putting so much effort into communicating with you guys, and like we have to like give a huge shout out to Michael Espinosa and Ashton Walter, their communications department, for ensuring that like communications of the SU is very strong. So they do a great job.
I'm flattered.
And
Thank you.
we try to do a lot of work executing on different things. I think one of the biggest things I'm worried about the SU is whether or not like it's going to stay in its current status. I think like one of the reasons that the student union is so weak when compared to like the teachers union or like the administration is that we change every single year, and because we change so often, it's hard for us to transition into the next stage. So anything that we do at the end of the day is up to like anything that we accomplish in the SU. If the president after us doesn't want to do it or doesn't want to execute on it, then that's completely their choice. So like all these email servers, all these biweekly updates, basically anything we do for clubs and pubs, any programs we release, if the next president doesn't want to do it and doesn't want to continue doing all of this work, then they don't have to, and it can all fall apart. And it has happened before. Like I was talking to a couple of alums that ran the. In fact, the reason that we have such a strong IT department right now is because we got in touch with alumni who ran the IT department like years ago, back in like '06, and structure than we had back in my freshman and sophomore year. And we've been working to implement those structures currently like in my junior year, and it's been going very well. And the reason that all of this shifted was because like the president that won the next year didn't want to continue it. And the other part of the problem is that there's not enough documentation written on it. And every single year, the SU president promises that they're going to write a guide on how to run the SU. But at the end of the day, if you can't run the SU properly, then you can't write a guide on how to run the SU. So what I think I'm going to do is, towards the end of the day, we're going to have the directors of different departments, write up small letters or guides for the new president, telling them what they do and how they do it, give them a general outline of it. We're also, and I know I'm going to personally do this. We're currently in the process of getting junior directors and junior positions for every single director position. These junior positions, they're going to be working with the directors very closely, learning the ropes, and they're going to start running the processes soon. And I personally will look at every single junior director, and at the end of the year, when the new president is chosen, I will recommend those people that I feel like did a great job to the new president, and we'll see like how the president will take it however they want to. Of course, they might not. They'll take it however they want to. But that's what we're doing in terms of transition. What I really want to do is to make sure that the SU doesn't fall behind. What I want to see get done before the end of the STI is like create an SU that any person can run as efficiently and as smoothly as possible. That's like my main goal. I think the second goal that I would have is to ensure that the extracurricular activities at STI are being funded and get as much of the funding as they need, because I really feel like, and I'm a strong believer in extracurricular education. I believe that like hands-on work and the stuff that you learn working within your club, planning events and planning fundraisers and marketing is what truly helps you in life at the end of the day, because you're learning a lot of skills. And I think that's what we ought to put more money into. And the student union gets zero funding from the DOE, from the school, from anyone, and it just goes to show how little value is put into clubs and pubs. Of course, we have a very strong community at STI, and that's why we have such a strong extracurricular program. We have money that goes to fund these clubs and pubs because the SU raises money, and the students recognize the importance of extracurricular activities. So they go to events. It's like you go to a dance, you're not only having fun, you're actually supporting extracurricular activities at STI, and you actually are. Like, I'm not even kidding, you actually are supporting them. If you go into if you read our financial report, almost all the money we make from Sing and from our events end up going to clubs and pubs at STI. So those are my two main goals: making sure that the SU is run smoothly after my junior year, whoever's the president, and after the president, them to making sure that people are making sure there's a structure left in place to ensure that SU doesn't fall behind like it did a couple of years ago, and to make sure that the extracurricular activities at STI are always supported and are funded as well as possible. My two main goals are the two things that I would want to see get done by the SU and by the end of my senior year.
All right, so you said some very nice things about the SU, including the department of yours truly. What is your least favorite part about the SU and your least favorite aspect of Stuyvesant?
My least favorite part?
Yeah.
It's a hard question.
Really,
my least favorite part
really
of the
drilling
SU.
you here.
I don't know. I really love the SU. It's like what I've been doing since my second month of school at STI.
You can
Not
you
even
can throw me
I
under the
planned.
bus. You can just say
I
your least favorite
planned.
part of the school is communications. Least favorite part of the SU.
No, communication does a great job. Everyone at the NSU does a great job at what they do. They just do a wonderful job. Yeah, no, everyone does a wonderful job. I planned for my freshman Congress campaign in May of 8th grade. That's when I started planning for it. Immediately after campsite part 1. I knew this is what I wanted to do, and that's what I've been doing, and I enjoy SU a lot. And I don't know. It's a very hard question. I don't think I have an answer for my least favorite part. Yeah, I definitely don't have an answer for that. I'm sorry. And in terms of the STI community, I feel like sometimes STI becomes a place where the classes become just a ton of stuff being thrown at you, and you spend the next 4 years of your STI life trying to catch as much of that stuff as possible, and then you're evaluated based on how much stuff you've caught. And this is in terms of academics, and I feel like that's something that needs to be fixed. I also feel like sometimes there's not a clear balance in terms of there's not a clear balance. You could be taking the same class, you and your friend, and you can have two separate teachers, and you can know the same exact thing, but you'll get an 85 in one class and a 97 in another class. with a different teacher like that. Disparity between teachers is something that I don't like, and I think most people also agree that they don't. Most people would agree that they don't like it. That's something that we are working to improve in a variety of different ways. So I think those are the couple of things I don't like about the psych community, but I really love the psych community. I feel like we do a great job. We support extracurricular activities. We support teachers when they need that support. We provide funding. We provide access to people, connections, anything that we need. Like you can walk into an alumni association if you have a large scale project that you're working on and they believe in it. They will find you someone to help you. It's a wonderful place. Someone emailed me yesterday telling me that they wanted to do something. They wanted to DJ for the winter dance. It was like I passed on my recommendation because I looked at a couple of things and they were great. Like if you need anything, ask me. I will do my best to help out. And I think everyone at STI is like that. That's what I love about the STI community. It's so like everyone here is just they're so like if they're not smart in terms of book smart, they're smart in some other way. And like I don't know, if I wanted to do something, I would always be able to find a partner to do it. That's what I like about the STI community. I don't know. I think I'm talking to the STI community too much right now.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna chime in with my least favorite part of Stuyvesant, and I only observe this because I'm the communications director, and I find that student engagement. I feel like we could be more engaged, whether it's um, you know, having more people see our Facebook posts, like our Facebook page, or having more people fill out questions for these Q&A sessions or anything like that. I kind of just wish I I I don't want to be overflowed with stuff, but at the same time I would. And ultimately that comes from
Yeah, that's a
every
very
one of
fair
you.
point.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the last question, and then we can wrap up, and I get back to writing college essays. Hooray! So for both Michael and Tahseen, I'm so happy this person decided to include me. What are your New Year's resolutions? I'll let you go first, and then I'll say mine, and then I'll wrap up.
Uh, I don't really do New Year's resolutions because no one ends up
Oh, come
keeping them.
on. All right.
No, no one does them. Like
Y-
it's I don't see like a lot of people see the new year as a turning point. I just like it's all blurred to me. It's all part of it. Everything's moving constantly. The date is just a number.
Well, I definitely don't agree with that. See,
I'm sorry.
the thing with you is you're very methodical. It's like as soon as you see something that needs to be changed, you like write it down to your like giant list of things, and then like as soon as you have the chance to, you get on it. But definitely for me, the change of year means something because at this time last year, I was doing nothing but like coming home and playing video games, and instead of playing video games, I'm now, hosting Q&A session. Um, but no, this is serious. Like, I made it my New Year's resolution to be more involved in the school community, and I definitely think, like, looking back, it's been a successful year for me. As for what I want to do next year, um, I definitely want to start eating a lot healthier and more. I want to go to the gym. I want to get into college. That'd be nice.
That
And
would be nice.
I want to do sing because that's not something I did last year either. And I don't know, have fun. Yeah. So here's to 2016 past, even though you don't believe in years and whatnot. And here's to the 2017 ahead. So from me to Scene and everyone else in the student union, have a good night, have a great break, happy holidays, and happy new year.
Bye.